Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 12, Episode 5, In Hot Water. Okay, Episode 5 opens with Garcelle and we are in Ventura County, California. For some reason, the Chiron is also telling us that it's 35 miles from Malibu. Okay. Garcelle is there with her sister Chantal. We are looking at this house that, I gotta tell you, for a second there, I thought we were at Erica's. No, this is a house that Garcelle bought basically for the land because she's knocking the whole thing down and building something spectacular in its place. But it's right on the beach. Oh yeah, it's going to be wonderful. This is the artist's rendering or whatever, the specs for it. Garcelle said she's so excited that she's able to do this for her boys, and her sister said, you worked hard to get to where you are right now. And they talk about how their mother instilled a strong work ethic in them. And then her sister tells her that she's proud of her. It's very sweet. In her confessional, Garcelle remembers that when she was a little girl growing up in Haiti, they used to play on the beach all the time, and that she would look at the houses that were on the beach and think, one day, maybe. And then she goes, and the day is here. Okay, next we are at Bistro Jolie with Dorit and Erica. It might be worth mentioning that Dorit orders white wine for herself and Erica just gets an Arnold Palmer. So I don't know if that's going to come into play later or not, but yeah, just thought I'd better keep that in mind in case it comes up in the future. I don't know. I mean, it certainly doesn't support the drunk storyline. Dorit tells Erica that she had a therapy session that morning, and she said, it's very helpful, but it's also very draining. We flash back to her EMDR therapy. EMDR stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing Therapy. So kind of what they explained to us last week, where they have her think about the traumatic event or a moment in that event, and I guess try to desensitize you to those bad thoughts. And the reprocessing is to replace them with good feelings, like being at peace and stuff like that. I am just trying to figure this out myself, but that's kind of what I figure the idea is. I don't know what the eye movement part of that is. If any of you guys at home have any experience with it or are familiar with it, go ahead and leave it in the comments for the rest of us. So Dorit and Erica talk about Lois a little bit. There's been no more information. They know things aren't good and that she's in hospice care now. And basically, they just both feel bad for Lisa. Then Dorit tells Erica that at Sutton's party that Erica didn't go to because she was, laying down with her dog. Anyway, Dorit said that she had told all the girls about PK's idea of getting away for a few days. And then Dorit said, in fact, when I told Diana, she offered her private jet. Oh, Diana was not going to risk it being like another road trip to Palm Springs with nothing but Crystal and some homemade sourdough to keep her company. Diana's probably like, I did it your way once, now you do it my way. And Erica goes, it's nice to have these kind of friends, speaking as someone who no longer has a private jet. Yeah, not sure you're going to get a lot of sympathy for that one. Okay, now we're at Fabbricini's with Kyle and Crystal. And is that like a sister restaurant to Bistro Jolie? Because it looks like the sign is in the same font. Kyle tells Crystal that her niece Paris is getting married and that she knows it's going to be over the top. But there's so much pressure on Kathy and Paris to make it perfect because all eyes are going to be on them. Guys, why do I feel like we are going to be hearing a lot about Paris Hilton's wedding? This better not be Kyle's storyline. So for those of you who were worried that we might be moving away from last year's storyline with Crystal and Sutton and talking about word choices, have no fear, we are still discussing it. We may never move on. Kyle tells Crystal that while you were defending yourself, you threw Sutton under the bus. Kyle goes, you brought up something that was a year ago. Yes, we all know, Kyle. We are all well aware of that. I would like to point out, though, that yes, Crystal brought it up the night before when she was, I don't know, I thought kind of defending Sutton by saying, you guys are doing to her what you did to me last year, which is everybody's telling her how she should feel. You know, you guys are doing it to Sutton now because she didn't react the way you thought she should to Dorit's break-in. And last year it was where everybody told her that violated was too strong of a word for what Sutton did. And Crystal was trying to tell them, you guys can't tell me how I feel. I felt violated. So yes, she's the one that brought up last year first. But I think we were all done with that. When she went to Kyle's the next day and talked it out with everybody, and she ended that conversation by agreeing to Kyle that she's not going to hold anything in for a year anymore, it was calm. And I think it was done until Garcelle said, I have something that I've been kind of holding in for a year. I think that last year when you were having trouble with Sutton, Sutton could have said anything. She could have said, the sky is blue. And you would have said, are you that girl? Garcelle has to take some blame for where we are right now. She has to. Because had Garcelle not spoken up, Crystal never would have defended herself by throwing Sutton under the bus. I mean, yes, I think Crystal has a lot of difficulty expressing herself in just a simple way so that everybody understands and we can all like move on. I think she kind of clouds it with a lot of verbiage. But, you know, you couple that with the fact that Garcelle came after her. I mean, Garcelle said something that definitely required Crystal to defend herself. So I put a lot of blame for us having to muck through all this last year stuff again on Garcelle. So anyway, they're in the restaurant. Kyle goes on again about how you're leaving all of this open to interpretation. You bring something up and then you say, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to say what it is. And you leave it open-ended like that. And Crystal said, let me be very clear about this. I'm not going to repeat what she said. Kyle, then you never should have said it. Crystal, lesson learned. I kind of love that she said that. Because also, Kyle, this has nothing to do with you. Kyle would like Crystal to understand that it's very dangerous to put something out there and say that it's so dark, I can't say what it is. Okay, two things. One, can we talk about Kyle's use of the word dangerous? Isn't that just like saying unsafe? I just think there's different levels of the word. And two, she didn't say it was so dark that she can't repeat it. All she said was, I'm not going to repeat it. I took that to mean, I'm not going to go down this road again. So Kyle said, honestly, I think you're gaslighting this situation. Crystal is shocked. And she said, you think I'm gaslighting? Kyle, I do. Crystal, you have to be really careful with that. Oh my God. Kyle goes, oh, are we going to be dramatic about that? And Crystal said, I'm not being dramatic. So then Crystal asked Kyle to give her the benefit of the doubt. And Kyle said, okay, but then you stop being passive aggressive. Crystal's like, okay, but then you have to promise me that you will hear me and be open to my feelings. Kyle says, okay, but you have to be open to other people's feelings. Okay, but... No, Crystal's like, oh, completely. Crystal agrees to do everything within her power to be open and direct. Then Kyle goes, are you coming to Mexico? And she said, yeah. Kyle, are you going to do surf lessons? Crystal, I will if you do. Kyle's like, no, I don't like sharks. And Crystal said something like shark attacks rarely happen. And Kyle said, yeah, that's what the person who got attacked by a shark thinks too. Wow, this rarely happens. Okay. Oh, goody. We get another scene with Kyle. Our next scene is at Kyle's house, and Diana comes over. She said it took her an hour and a half to get there from Beverly Hills. Isn't Kyle in Beverly Hills? No, don't. You guys can tell me in the comments, but I will never remember because California confuses me. Anyway, the shocking part of this to me is that Diana drove herself. I mean, it was in a Bentley, but still. I don't want to offend anybody who owns a Bentley, but why are you watching my channel? No. Just kidding. They give me such like an old man vibe that I'm shocked that now 2 of the housewives drive Bentleys. Wait, does Dory too? Maybe. Maybe there's 3. Anyway, I know Sutton has one because that was like a whole thing. We saw her shopping for it. And Diana apparently has one. I don't know, guys. I was going to say something really stupid here, like, I bet they're terrible on gas. But then I thought, I really don't think people who drive Bentleys are concerned with gas prices. Anyway, so she apologizes for being late, but her navigation system in her Bentley was having me driving in circles. So it took her a while to find the place. Kyle's like, that's fine. She's got a beautiful spread of like cheeses and nuts and fruit that she has out on a low table for Bambi, the one bitch in Beverly Hills who isn't concerned about her weight. Anyway, without any kind of prompt whatsoever, Kyle tells Diana that she's so tired from Paris's wedding the night before. Oh, yeah. If Kathy was still a housewife, we might have gotten to see some behind the scenes of that wedding. Anyway, it was the first night of Paris's 3-day wedding, whatever that means. And she said, but I've got some exciting news. My daughter Farrah is engaged. Kyle's like, yeah, she like kept her ring turned around during the wedding because, she didn't want to pull focus. Yeah, I doubt that Farrah was going to pull focus from Paris Hilton at her own wedding. She would have to show her wedding ring and be naked to do that. Anyway, Kyle does get around to asking Diana a question about herself. I'm kidding. She asks, how's your baby? And Diana said, oh, she's getting too brave, She's like a drunk walking around hitting things. So Kyle asks Diana, how many more babies do you really think you're going to have? And she said, well, I don't know after what happened. Do you know what happened? And Kyle said, no. So apparently when her baby daughter was only 5 months old, she got pregnant again with a boy. And she was at a routine visit, checking her cervix. Everything was great, checking things out. Everything was great. And Diana said, I'm going to show Asher. So she calls him, gets him on FaceTime. And so he could see what's going on. And the doctor said to me, put that phone down. The baby is dead. Okay. Horrible, of course. But also, good God, I hope the doctor didn't say it like that. I mean, I think it's Diana's way. I think she's very sort of, blunt about things. But yeah, horrible. I couldn't tell how far along she was. She said something like, it's not very common to lose a baby after 12 weeks, 40 weeks. Now, 40 weeks is the full term. So I don't know what she meant, but I at least assume that the baby was over 12 weeks. However, it was horrible. She describes even more details that I won't go into now about her miscarrying then. But in any case, she said that it made her realize how fragile everything is in life. So she isn't planning to have another baby. She'll just see how it goes. Then they start to talk about the Mexico trip. And Diana says it's her first time away from her baby. Although, she was in Palm Springs. I guess that was just an overnight, but still, unless her baby went on ahead with her team, that's possible. Diana's baby and Teddy are just off camera. You guys, can I just say something? I love you guys so much. You are so on board with the idea of Teddy being right there with everybody, but like just enough out of the camera range that maybe you just like see a shoulder, see her hand reaching for something. Oh God, I don't know why that cracks me up so much. The idea of it would be like more exciting than when she was actually on. Hi, I'm Teddy. This was Teddy's excitement level. Okay, next we are at a restaurant with Garcelle and Sutton. And they're meeting for dinner. And they start talking about Sutton's party for the French designer. And it gets to, that conversation and what Crystal said. And so Sutton tells Garcelle that she remembers having a conversation with Crystal last summer. And then we get a flashback.
I remember telling her a story about looking out the window. Water. asked to have friends over, and they were sitting in the jacuzzi, and I'm like, there's my white child with a black girl's in there, a Chinese girl was in the jacuzzi, and then like probably a redheaded Irish Catholic girl. And I'm like, this is what it should be.
I obviously don't disagree, but you need to go further than that. I don't believe that that is enough anymore.
So Garcelle said, well, what was so dark about a bunch of kids in a pool? And Sutton's like, that's all I can think of. Garcelle is very suspicious that somebody's not saying something because it's just not adding up. She's like, Sutton and Crystal can't be seeing the same event that differently. So Sutton said, I just want to move on. And Garcelle said, well, we'll move on when we know. Sutton, know what? Garcelle, what you said that was so dark. And Sutton goes, I just told you. And Garcelle's like, no, that can't be it. Sutton goes, that's all I can think of. Garcelle goes, well, if that's it, then I would just say watch your back. Because she's alluding to something that you said is being dark, and that's not a friend. And Sutton goes, I know, it's scary. Okay, next, the screen turns black, and we see the date, November 15th, 2021. And Lisa tells us in her confessional that her mom, Lois, passed away, which, you know, we knew, but it's so sad all over again. You know, just watching it play out, I guess. We see a very, like, sweet montage, and you're reminded, like, really how often Lois was on this show, you know? And she's just a sweet woman. It was like the best of Lois. And Rinna said, the world loved her, and I'm glad I got to share part of her with you. Yeah, she was the best part of Lisa, for sure. Okay, now we see Kyle and Erica, and they're FaceTiming. Of course, they're talking about Lois's passing, and they're wondering if Lisa will still go on the trip. They hope that she does, but they, of course, understand if she doesn't. And in the next scene, we see all the ladies arriving at the airport and exiting their cars. And there's Lisa. Yeah, she decided to go. She said Lois would have wanted her to go. She's like, oh, are you kidding? She would have been mad at me if I didn't go. And, you know, again, this is a thing where, like, how do you grieve? It's so personal to everybody that no one person can tell somebody else they're not grieving the right way. I actually believe that Lois would have told her to go. I don't really have anything to criticize about her being there. So they're all on the private jet, and Dorit tells everyone that for tonight, let's everyone check into your rooms. And then I guess Dorit has made a reservation for a restaurant that's in the hotel. All right, they land in Mexico, and then they kind of have to pile into two vehicles. The way this shook out was that Kyle, Rinna, Diana, and Dorit were in one vehicle, and then in the other, it was Sutton, Garcelle, Crystal, and Erica. I don't know how. One fox was dawdling in the back, and she ended up not with the Fox Force 5. And Kyle, of course, has to, like, laugh and mention that Sutton, Erica, and Crystal are all riding together. And Rinna goes, oh yeah, all the awkwardness is in the other car. Speaking of awkwardness, quick question, where are Bambi and Teddy? I mean, I assume they flew commercial, but are they, like, in a trailer behind one of these cars? Nearby, but just out of camera range? Okay, well, the awkward car is having fun. Garcelle said, I will bet you $5 Dorit is speaking Spanish in her car. Then we quickly flash over to the other car. She's speaking Spanish to the driver. Sutton goes, but when they speak back to you in English, Erica turns around and she goes, it's a real red flag. We speak English, all right? Calm down. Sure enough.
¿Cuánto tiempo?
20 minutes.
Yeah, it's a real red flag.
20 minutos más.
We speak English, all right? Like, leave us the alone.
Gracias.
Thank you. I mean, that was funny, but also I'm shocked that, like, Erica was, like, getting in on the joke about Dorit with Sutton, of all people, and Garcelle. I have probably said this 100 times. I will probably say it 100 more. I don't think these women hate each other as much as we think they do. I really don't. I think a lot of this stuff is just to create tension so that the show is exciting. And, you know, we all fall for it. So anyway, Erica says, I wonder how Diana's doing in the other van. I think because, you know, Diana is forced to ride like a pan in a vehicle with other ladies instead of, a stretch limo pulling up for her. Garcelle goes, and she flies her people there ahead of time to set everything up perfect for her. I love that. And somebody said, I'm going to do that next time. I hope it wasn't Erica. Don't forget, you can't afford that. We see Diana's confessional where she said, I travel so much. I send people ahead to make sure everything is good condition. Side note, didn't we already get this explanation from her? I feel like we went through the whole thing about how she sends her team ahead when we were in La Quinta, right? Why are we hearing about this again? Side note, oh God, you guys, how funny would it have been if she were staying at Kyle's house and sent her team ahead? I love the idea. Oh, what if Teddy's part of her team? No, I like that Teddy is Teddy on her own, just housewife adjacent. Yeah. Okay, so we all arrive at the Conrad Hotel. There's a welcome drink for everyone. It's something with coconut and ricella or something. I don't know. It's basically they're drinking rice pudding is what I took from this, which, not the worst idea. The resort is lovely, of course, and now everyone has gotten ready and they are arriving at the restaurant downstairs. Everyone's there except Dorit, and Kyle said she got delayed, but she'll be down soon. They order drinks and, talk about Lois for a little bit. And now Dorit arrives. So I guess what happened was the resort had put her on the first floor, and she said that her door, like her patio door, was people would walk by right outside, and she really did not feel safe. Of all people, they put Dorit down there. Anyway, she said it was a lovely room, but obviously nervous about the first floor. So I guess she had to move into a different room. That's why she was late. So everyone's there now. They're seated. And Rinna says, I was gone for a week. Did I miss anything? Because nobody told you, right? Kyle, Erica, no one told you what went on while you were gone? Sure. Garcelle jokingly said, oh, nothing at all. And then everyone gets very quiet. Sutton said, well, you missed my event. Lisa, you're right, I did miss your event. How was it? I saw a lot of pictures on Instagram. Sutton, very well, thank you for asking. And thank you all for coming. That may or may not have been a dig at Erica. Then another long stretch of silence. Rinna, well, you girls are awfully quiet. Sutton finally breaks down, and then everyone kind of starts explaining the situation, the conversation at Kyle's, and then the conversation at Sutton's. Sutton, I don't want anything misconstrued. Kyle, are you referring to the comment? She said, yes, the dark conversation. Sutton wants to make it clear to everyone that her home and her family are filled with love for everyone. I don't want any untruths to be spoken. That can be very dangerous. There's that word again. Crystal, as you know, I was uncomfortable with what was being said. But we've gone through it, we talked about it, and you really understand it. Sutton, right. So why bring it up again? This could have so easily been nipped in the bud if Crystal would have just said, oh, because Garcelle made the accusation that you could have said anything, maybe even just the sky is blue, and I still would have said, are you that girl? So I defended myself by saying, no, that's not true. Sutton said something that prompted me to say that to her. She could have even said, and I'm not going to say what that was, because Sutton and I worked through it. We have moved on. It's over. The only reason I mentioned it is because Garcelle accused me of something that wasn't true. Here's what Crystal does say. Oh, it was our very first conversation. And it was, the tone was very, it was heavy and very uncomfortable. Way to be clear, Crystal. Dorit, you said there was something much worse and it was very dark. Crystal, okay, so, words are like a Rorschach, right? Garcelle, what is a Rorschach? I don't understand that. Some people said, like the blot test. Crystal, I know these are big words, My jaw dropped. I'm like, I always try to like give the benefit of the doubt, and I'm like, does she mean strong words like, I know violate is a big word and unsafe is a big word? Does she mean it like that? Or was she basically calling Garcelle dumb? Because unfortunately, that's how Garcelle took it. Garcelle's like, what? We understand big words, Crystal. Crystal, okay. So that is how she meant it. Because if she meant it the other way that I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt about, she would have said, no, that's not, I didn't mean it like you don't understand big words. I meant like, again, this is a word I'm using and you guys are gonna say it's wrong. She didn't say that. She said, okay. So she was annoyed. Okay, why not? Let's move on. Diana goes, she's also the youngest in the group. I'm not even sure what that has to do with what she just said, but Dorit goes, I mean, 38 isn't a baby. She's not 21. Diana, I know, but I'm 48. I'm a bigger boss. Okay. Rena, and 58, honey. Am I right? Side note, for what I'm about to say, I will just tell you that I had closed captioning on because I didn't understand the words, so I thought I must not be hearing them right. I'm going to tell you the exact words that Diana said. And then you guys in the comments, let me know what it means. Thank you. She said, a decade or two at Foxfields. It's, I grew a whole tail in a decade. Rena, right. You do. Okay, is it something to do with Fox Force 5? Growing a foxtail? What is Foxfield? Also, the closed captioning capitalized it like Foxfields is a proper noun. A decade or two at Foxfields. I grew a whole tail in a decade. You think the verb is dead is hard to understand? I don't understand. I grew a whole tail in a decade at Foxfields. Look, the ladies understand each other. That's all that matters. I'm happy about that. They're like, oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I get the gist of what she's trying to say is that, as you get older, you mature and you learn more, right? She goes on to say, in my 30s, I was so naive. So, okay. I mean, this is like an age shaming of Crystal that's going on. I'm not thrilled with Crystal right now, but still, I'm not sure attacking her as like being young is the right way to go either. Sutton just says, but I'm coming from a place of love. And I feel like you have tried to assassinate my character twice now. Oh my God, it did not have to get to this. This is why I'm frustrated. Also, you guys know I was happy that Crystal and Sutton had become what I thought was like real friends because they became friends when the cameras weren't rolling. So I was happy about that. And now this is like, now Sutton is attacking Crystal, and it just didn't have to get to this point if Crystal would have just been more succinct, right? Anyway, Crystal said, it makes me nervous about my friendship with you. Crystal just says, I understand. I feel like she's not even like fighting for herself anymore. And maybe it's because she thinks nothing I say or do is going to matter to anybody here. So she's just kind of resigned herself. I don't know. Oh, good. Drunk Erica has just arrived. I don't think I'm going to like her as much as Tequila Jen. I'm willing to give her a try. She said, I am just in awe of what I'm hearing right now, I must say. Must you? Because I feel like you don't really have to say anything right now. Garcelle, what do you mean by that? Or are you being facetious? Erica, this is kind of what I was saying last year. Sutton goes, I wasn't assassinating your character. And Garcelle said, it's two different things you can't compare. Why isn't Kyle saying it's apples and oranges right now? Oh, because Erica is a member of Fox Force 5. In Garcelle's confessional, she said, Erica was being judged by the whole world. Sutton was just questioning whether we could be in trouble because we knew so much. Wait, you knew so much? What did you know? Do you know so much? I thought last year that Sutton was just making sure there was no kind of guilt by association thing, like, am I going to get deposed or something? Okay. Now I want to know what Garcelle knows. Garcelle goes on to say, Crystal is deliberately assassinating someone's character. I disagree with that. I think Sutton's comments made Crystal feel a certain way, and she told Sutton, and they talked through it. They worked it out and became friends, like off-camera friends. Like I said, I don't know. I know I'm naive about a lot of stuff. I do know that, but I don't know. I believed this one. So they were friends until you, Garcelle, accused Crystal of saying, "Are you that girl?" no matter what Sutton said. That came out of the blue. I know Garcelle said she was like harboring it for a while and now was getting it off her chest, but I don't think that was the venue for it, let's say. I think that could have been a private conversation with Crystal. Look, the reason I love Garcelle is because she kind of tells it like it is. She's the voice of reason to me with these ladies. Usually, almost always, when Garcelle says something, I love that she said it because it's kind of what we're all thinking. I don't know. I don't totally understand the behind the scenes workings of the Housewives shows. I believe that they are told, you need to be more exciting, you need to bring it next year or whatever. And I think what they've learned, especially Jersey, is that fighting and conflict. Honestly, I couldn't do it if I didn't really feel mad at somebody. That's exhausting. So it could just be that Garcelle was told to bring it. I don't know. I like Garcelle on this show. I think we need someone like her to kind of, tether the others to the ground a little bit. So this stuff that Garcelle's been doing, I'm not loving it. Anyway, Dorit says to Crystal, "Do you think you exaggerated or made something up?" Yeah, let's tell Crystal now that she made the whole thing up. That'll go over big, Crystal. "I'm not making anything up. I said things were said that were hurtful, and that's it. I need you to stop denying my experience." The only thing I'm going to kind of come at her a little bit for is that you didn't say she said something that was hurtful, that's it. If you had said hurtful the first time instead of very dark, these ladies would not be coming at you. I'm just saying. She can choose whatever words she wants as far as I'm concerned. That's her experience. But I think she's downplaying it now. Now she's backing off of her own feelings by downgrading it to just hurtful, The next thing that Kyle says, I need to talk about too. So Kyle says to Crystal, "But you also can't hurt someone's character. In La Quinta, you said it was so dark that she would be canceled. It was so horrible that you couldn't talk about it." Whoa. That's a lot of exaggerating right there. That's not what we heard. And once again, I will say, if she said it the way Kyle is saying it right now, Bravo would not have edited that out. We would have heard those words too. That is now Kyle exaggerating something that Crystal said, which in and of itself may have been exaggerated. Anyway, Kyle got herself all worked up now. And she goes, "That's what gaslighting is. That's what I'm talking about." In Crystal's confessional, she said, "If Rinna or Erica had said dark, no one would question it. But with me, it's too much. It's too intense." Crystal thinks that they see her as someone they can easily attack. So Crystal's response to Kyle is, "It was an uncomfortable conversation that we talked through and had gotten over. That's it." Garcelle, "How do you feel about it, Sutton? You've been quiet." Sutton, "I said I would never have said anything so terrible, so dark." Erica to Sutton, "What do you feel she's accusing you of?" "No one else, just Sutton." Sutton, "I just don't want any insinuation about my personal character." Erica, "You just want her to say she doesn't think you're a racist." Dorit, "It's not about the content of the conversation. It's about the insinuation." Erica, "That she's a racist." Drunk Erica. Just really getting to the meat and potatoes of the issue, which is true. They all danced around that because I don't think anyone wanted the word racist out there. But that's the thing they were all dancing around. So now that that cat's out of the bag, Rinna said, this is where it gets dangerous. You're dangling a dangerous carrot, Erica. When you don't say what it is, people are going to fill in the blanks. And it's going to get a lot worse. Rinna, it's already bad. Then to Sutton, for you. Sorry. Sutton's like, yeah, I know. Rinna, it's not good for you. She gets it, Rinna. Jesus. Sutton's like, no, it's not. And here we go again. And I am fucking pissed. Oh, guys, did you see that? Did you see how effortlessly Rinna stirred that pot? Such finesse. She could give a master class. I mean, she got Sutton to go from 0 to 60. That was her goal. Sutton wasn't angry enough at Crystal. Obviously, they want to, pull any alliance away from, is it Sutton that they're going to attack this year or is it Crystal? I'm not even sure. But they wanted, obviously, to separate them. And she did it. All she had to do was remind Sutton how very bad this looks for her. Anyway, Crystal said, I didn't bring it up, which I think she means what I was saying earlier. Really, Garcelle did, but she did bring it up the night before. That's the first mention of the issue of last season. That came from Crystal. Like I said, it would have amounted to nothing until Garcelle amped it up. Anyway, Crystal said, I didn't bring it up. Sutton's already off to the races. She's pissed. And she said, yes, you did. And you have a pattern with this with your friends. You make up lies about your friends behind their back. So stop it. Because I like you. And I'm telling you this because I like you. What was all that? Drunk Erica. How do they figure in here? How are the friends relevant to this conversation? Sutton. I just know things. Yeah. In her confessional, Sutton said, Beverly Hills is a small town. I have had friends, her friends, who are no longer her friends, warn me that Crystal will make sure that she is best friends with the most powerful woman in the group. And she will do anything she can to get there. Okay, but who does Crystal think is the most powerful woman in the group? I don't even know who I think is the most powerful woman in the group. It's obviously not Sutton. And Sutton's the one she befriended and got close to, so I don't know. Anyway, now the ladies, of course, accuse Sutton of doing what Crystal did. You're putting the grenade out there, but you're not pulling the pin. They're like, tell us what do you know? Sutton, it's just about friends and society. I'm just telling her something out of love. Then we get Rinna's confessional. I have heard what Sutton's talking about, but I've chosen not to necessarily use it. Okay. Not necessarily, but you got Sutton to use it. She really is good at this, you guys. Rinna is practically pulling the words out of Sutton's mouth. She goes, you heard this? Sutton, I heard it. Rinna, was a pattern. Sutton, is a pattern. Sutton, come on, you're smarter than this. You're letting Rinna manipulate you. Kyle, can I say something? Oh, please don't. She goes, I'm not trying to go back. And Crystal goes, then don't. Yes. Kyle, I don't want to be in a bad place with you, Crystal. But as the only other person who was there at the time, as far as what I witnessed, I don't think that's fair. Crystal, okay. I love when she does that, though. Okay. In her confessional, she said, Kyle is focusing on what serves her and not what might have been hurtful to me or people of color. Kyle tells Crystal that she doesn't think she wants it said because she made it seem way worse than what it really was. I wondered that too, but again, not Kyle's call. I don't know exactly what Crystal's referring to, but I do know that I wouldn't want two men to be arguing over whether something was hurtful to a woman. Not their call to make. So drunk Erica is like, well, somebody just say what it is. Rinna, nope. So Sutton says, it was about how in my family, we have raised our children to have multicultural friends. Rinna, that was it? Sutton goes, we have a jacuzzi and a pool and everyone is welcome. what does the jacuzzi in the pool have to do with it? That's really weird. In Kyle's confessional, she goes, now I get it. Crystal's confused because the night that I was there, they didn't have that conversation. It was another night. So Kyle wasn't there, or she wasn't too drunk to remember it, or she wasn't blocking it out because it was so dark. She wasn't there for that conversation. And that part, Crystal did get confused. Because at the very, very beginning of this, when she first said there was something else that was said that was very dark, she looked at Kyle and she goes, you were there, but Kyle wasn't there. And so now Kyle feels like, oh, great, I'm not losing my mind. Kyle's just like, to that aspect of it, she's relieved because it was like, now it's not that I'm not remembering something terrible. Crystal said something to Garcelle, and Sutton said, I already told Garcelle. And Crystal said to Garcelle, and that didn't offend you? And Garcelle said, no. Then she goes on to say, we're all taking offense to the fact that you alluded to it being really, really bad and it could hurt her reputation. Sutton, look, I like Crystal. I do. As much as I hate her, I like her. Then she looks at Crystal. So, thanks. Crystal, I'm sorry. Sutton, no, thanks a lot. Okay, she said she was sorry. Like, I hate that. I hate when someone backs down, but the person's like still so fired up that they have to say something else. All right, she said she was sorry. That's where this episode ends, you guys. Very confusing place. And I don't know, like a sad place to me. I don't want Crystal and Sutton to be, angry with each other after they've been through so much and managed to get through it and get past it. Sutton bringing up that thing that society friends brought up, that was weird too. I don't like that. I don't know if there's something else to Crystal that we don't see on the show. If there's a negative side to her we're not seeing, I don't know. But I did want them to be friends, so I kind of hate this, and I feel like it's a bad place to end. I hope they can get past it. Anyway, next week I think there's more going on, unfortunately. And then Garcelle has a good line. She kind of shuts Erica up for a second there, so that'll be good to see. But that was it for this week. So I have been for a little while thinking about doing a Q&A kind of thing with you guys. I don't know if you'd be interested in it. I've always said, like, I'm not a vlogger or anything, and I don't share too much about my personal life and stuff like that. So I was just thinking that if you guys had questions for me, maybe I would do like a little Q&A at the end of a video. It's just a thought. If you're interested, I don't know, it feels even weird for me to say that. Like, why would you care? But it is just sort of a weird thing that happens when you watch somebody on YouTube. Like a lot of you guys have said, like, I feel like you're my friend in my head, and you do kind of get to know somebody. I know I do that with other YouTubers that I watch. Whenever they do any like thing about their personal life, or even a day in the life kind of things where they're running errands and going to the store and stuff, I love those videos. I'm a curious person, so I do kind of love to see just a little like slice of what's going on in their life and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there very casually so that I'm not too embarrassed if nobody wants to know anything. So you can leave questions for me. I'm at Jill Informed on Instagram, and you can just DM me questions there, or you can leave questions in the comments down below this video. I will check those as well, and we'll just see where this takes us. As always, if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet subscribed to Jill Informed, please consider doing so. And if you want notification every time I have a new video come out, then click the bell icon down below. I will see you next week for the next recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Love you guys. Bye.